A little over a year ago, Matt Armstrong bought his Mclaren home from Amsterdam, and at the time, it looked like this. It was wrecked, and it's been a vast turnaround to get it to where it is today. This week, I have the opportunity to have the vehicle here at Y Details. It's on the ramp. It's receiving a detail, a paint correction, coatings, and PPF, paint protection film, physical impact protection with Suntek reaction to preserve the high impact areas, because this year, 2025, Matt intends to use the car more out on track, so we're going to look to preserve the carbon fibre and the stunning Tiffany blue paintwork. It's a car I'm sure many of you may recognise. It's probably familiar. It's probably one of the most recognised McLaren 720s in the world. The 8-part series on Matt's main channel, documenting the build process from where it was to where it is today, has accumulated some 25 million views. And if you count the Mark II channel as well, all of the links to the video series you'll find in the description below, it's like 40 million views. So just shows what a bit of hard work, graft and dedication, or hard work beats talent, some of Matt's sayings and merchandise quotes. It just shows what's possible. You join me nearing the end of the week here, so let's jump back to the start of the episode, the start of the week, where we're going to take the car outside for the wash, the decontamination process, before we bring it back in to assess the paint, to do the prep ahead of the PPF. That and a whole lot more in this episode of Y Details. I must say, being one of the many millions of people that followed this car's build process, it feels bizarre, it feels weird having the car here in person when it's so familiar to me, something I've seen on screen previously. But the build's pretty much now complete for Matt, so going forward the car is going to be used, it's going to be tracked, he's going to use it, and use it he will. There are some random abrasions and deeper scratches in places, as well as a signature from Mr. Richard Hammond from Top Gear. Both the Tiffany blue pearlescent paintwork and the carbon fibre suffering from holograms, light machine holograms which need clearing, as well as a little patina on the offside lower door panel. Sander marks and general abrasions, as well as some blemishes on the carbon fibre in the lacquer, which we'll take a closer look at a little bit later. The plan was to, as usual, whip the wheels off whilst the car's outside, to flush the arches, to begin the wet work process. But even my low entry trolley jack wasn't able to fit underneath the carbon side skirt extensions. The arches were flushed as best possible whilst the car's in situ, as well as the door shuts and the bonnet surrounds. Onto a thorough pre-rinse with a pressure washer, ensuring any trapped grit and stones and gravel from previous track sessions are dislodged, and it's onto the snow foam and intricate brushing of the hard to reach areas that otherwise a wash mitt would struggle to tackle.
Finally, a chemical tar remover was used to remove stubborn tar deposits from the bodywork. With a quick final rinse down, and we're back inside onto the scissor lift to move on to the clay bar decontamination stage. Before we advance onto the polishing stages now and take a look at the paint inspection, there is a considerable amount of surface contamination, some fallout and deposits, bonded stubborn deposits on the bodywork. Clear to see against the Tiffany blue body, but if it's on the paint, it's also on the glass. If it's on the glass, it's on the carbon fibre. Clay bar is an important step to strip off the contamination ahead of A, polishing, but also B, the PPF. The last thing you want is a small cluster of tiny pinheads of contaminants visible, trapped underneath paint protection film.
We're inside now, and the decontamination, chemical, mechanical, clay bar, tar removal stage complete. A surprising amount of stray, tiny pinheads of contaminants present on the surface. All sorted, all removed, ready for some polishing ahead of doing the PPF. Now, as per Matt Jones's Hurricane, which was here, it's an episode from 3 videos ago from about a month ago. Matt Jones being Matt Armstrong's cameraman slash right-hand man slash friend slash manager. The areas on the Lamborghini that were going to be PPF'd were polished ahead of time. That, I'm going to do the same for the Mclaren. And then the rest of the bodywork, the exposed paintwork, is going to receive a 2-stage correction to eliminate sanding marks, heavy hazing in certain areas, holograms from rotary polishing. By no means is it bad, it's a very forgiving colour, that said, for the light. But 2-stage correction to the exposed paintwork before we do some coatings, much later in this episode. The front end though, the carbon fibre kit, gotta say, a bit disappointed, really. I remember when the episode of the Mclaren came out on Matt's channel and we saw the kit laid out on the floor in their workshop, and I could actually see, at the time with the lights, you could see over the top, as on screen now, it was hazy, there was holograms, there was polishing marks. And as you can see, there is lots of hologramming, there's lots of haze, there's lots of room for improvement with correct polishing. However, we are left with multiple areas where the lacquer has been compromised. There's a 3-inch burn through here. There's another one here, there's another one here, the start of one here, and here. There's a nasty one on the sides, higher up, with some weird little blistering bits going on in the lacquer as well. More noticeable on the wings. and around here. Apparently the car was stood outside. It was stored outside for the winter, which could perhaps be part of the reason for the blistering and the likelihood there's been some sort of failure there. But the burn throughs and the thin paint, I can't really do a great deal. I don't want to make it any worse. The objective really is to get it PPF'd to protect it going forward. So maybe, just maybe, you might see me, I'm going to start elsewhere, but you might see me doing a very light, finessed, mild machine polish to cleanse and prep and lift. But I'm certainly not going to be trying to chase perfection on this. And you can see in the bottom of the vents here, as Matt calls his duck ponds, I believe. You saw that was collecting with water anyway, but there's a tide mark, there's a heavy area of oxidized sort of etched paint, which that can all be improved by hand polishing, a bit of finger polishing, and the same with down in here. In the bottom corners, it's just a bit dusty and heavy with stubborn dirt. You can almost see the shoulders are thin. It's almost like yellow, thin bits going up. So I'm treading lightly. I have reported back to the team about that finding. But what I will say is, after all said and done and the PPF is installed, it's going to look fabulous. Yes, you will probably still see the burn throughs below, but what you're not going to see are the holograms and the haze and the swirls, because PPF over the top, it's like it's a new varnish, it's a new clear coat. It's going to cover and mask a lot of what we're looking at there. So I don't have to worry too much about the paint perfection side of things at this point. It's just a bit of a shame. I don't know what's happened. I'm not going to get too involved. Start with some polishing up on the roof sections. And we've got all the carbon fibre skirts and bits here to address. Spoiler also hazy. But I don't believe it has been burnt through, or that said, oh, here we go. Spoke too soon. And then we're going to be back onto the blue with the polishing for the paint correction for the rest of the episode. These marks are pretty deep. Might have to think outside the box. I have an idea for that already. Come on to that in a bit. Bit of paint missing on the A pillar under the trim. And then we have a nice series of scratches on the top here. 1, 2, 3 that runs, as well as, oh, that's quite a reach, as well as a little bit of tidying up to do in the middle. She's going to be beautiful. And I must say, with regards to the PPF on the wings of this business and the bonnet, clearly there's no database, there's no patterns or templates available from Suntek. They are aftermarket body kit sections. It's not something that's covered with sort of the manufacturer templates available. So it's a two-man job. As per the Hurricane, I've got Rob from Suntek is imminent, or he is due tomorrow. We'll see how we go. For now, on to some polishing. How's that looking? That is much improved. Half of it complete. That is yet still to be PPF'd as per the T cross section in the middle. The roof rail here, clearly still work in progress. The central tub, the new tub that Matt's put on the car, was actually taken off a race car. Now, I'm judging by the leading edge here, it's quite clear to see. We do have an amount of chipping here already. The original tub from the left-hand drive car Long story. This new tub was a right-hand drive from a right-hand drive race car. The original tub from factory was left-hand drive. They had to convert the right-hand drive tub to be a left-hand drive to suit this car because it's from Europe, it's from Amsterdam. And the original tub had a carbon fiber pack which included stuff like the mirrors, but also the top section there was carbon. But on this one it's gloss. But what I'm going to do is same as back here because the deep scratching, which I'm not sure is going to polish. I'm going to use Suntek Altered Black, which we'll get onto, but that's going to actually help to disguise further and enhance the appearance of whilst I am polishing to improve things for the time being. Altered Black PPF over the top is going to just actually mask any of the light bits of pitting at the front here, and also the deeper marks and the scratches, the abrasions that I'm not able to chase out with the polishing. It's a bit of a hack, but it's all about vehicle appearance and improvements and protection. Well, so far that is the roof sections complete. Look what I've just found. On this little bracket we have a little piece of wobbly PPF. Remains. That needs to come off. It's much nicer, much nicer, ready for some film. PPF. Still undecided what we're doing here, but for now, here. Sadly, I thought I could do a bit of Armstrong then, but sadly not. In an attempt to remove the front splitters, actually, if we look, we have used some Mansory glue, as Matt calls it. There's lots of bonding going on under there, as well as dust. The side fins, which are the most sort of offending part for me to access the front bumper PPF, this part is attached separately, so let's give them 3 screws a go. Perfect. What the? I know this looks a bit rough at the minute, but it's very much work in progress. But the stone chipping and the rash, all of this that's seen down here,
And sadly on the lower portions as well, all across there, as well as the ones you've seen touched up. Actually, what happened?
Times.
This is the Stig, Ben Collins, with Matt Armstrong driving this car.
Please can you do
One more go.
but this time be back.
Stig from Top Gear.
This time the stick wasn't messing around, but maybe we pushed him a little too much. Yes. That was a lot of
Whoops. Poor old Ben. The Stig spun, sadly, and it's a shame that the PPF wasn't in place beforehand, because a lot of that would have been preserved and protected before any of that had a chance to happen. But not to worry, but I'm going to build this up in multiple layers, flat it down, polish it, PPF eventually over the top. Existing PPF stripped and removed from the headlight surround. The gloss black accent to the bumper here, that's been polished mostly by hand to get bug splats and bits away from there. I've spotted there are flat spots and sander marks on the bumper itself. You can see here the light should be sort of pure and crisp, but that is pretty heavy there. Using the spotlights on the wall, you can see that. So room for improvement there as well. And then finally it's going to be outside tomorrow for a rinse before it's back inside and on the ramp and we start doing some film installation. The spoiler's looking better. This gloss black section here looking much better. And I'm very happy with the work up high on the roof. I'm going to send Matt Jones a bit of a video update for today's progress and back in tomorrow. Work in progress on the carbon fibre, the old PPF from factory removed. You can see some factory holograms there, they need clearing up. Super glittery finish on this now, it's starting to get some correction. Super glittery. Bit of a worrying finish there around the parking sensor, sadly. Well, sadly the rear fin here is actually attached. I hadn't seen that. It is bolted at the back. I'm not going to start pulling this panel off. Sort of the panel gaps a bit. So I don't want to start risk potentially breaking clips and whatnot. Work around that. From a distance, the little repair here, it's a lot better. PPF over the top of that. Certainly takes your eye off being drawn towards the area. Correct this section, correct that side, do the same on the near side. Thinking about doing something to the wings of the bonnet outside for a rinse. Is it sunny outside? Yes, beautiful. Oh, what a difference. Polishing that's required before PPF complete. We'll pick up on the polishing later in the episode. Now we're heading outside. We're going to use filtered water because the sun's out a little bit
get it fully rinsed off, get it flushed. It's amazing how much is accumulated down behind the fins there. Now they're removed from the gravel trap from track day.
Whilst the pressure washer is still outside, having rinsed the vehicle down because of the polishing dust, the wheels are removed, taken outside and given a cleanse. Other than a few stray tar deposits in the barrels, there's nothing really too serious to worry about. The carbon ceramic disc brakes, preventing lots of brake pitting build-up. And you may recognise the white dish is missing at this stage. These had been removed ahead of time, and I believe they've been replaced or exchanged with another design. Stay tuned for Matt's channel for updates on that.
The wheel's now blown dry and sat through next door to one side with the Porsche, the GTS. Did you see that at the start of the episode, racing yellow? Full car coverage next door. At the 720 now, we are moving into the PPF installation side of things. And here is a little bit I got plotted last week whilst on the Porsche. And you can probably work out that is, it's worked out nicely actually because it allows me to test fit it here before I commit to plotting the same piece on the altered black, the gloss black section, because sadly, whilst it's much improved, I've not been able to fully chase the deep marks there. So my theory, as I say, if it's a nice fit, we're gonna go for the altered black PPF to hide that, which is all good. Might do some custom work up here on the roof as well. Altered black for the cross member, the main structure part of it. A-pillars are all pretty good, to be honest. Spoiler's looking nice, that's going to be covered. The wings and the bonnet, it's a shame, obviously, about these areas, the blotchy bits. My eye is just going to be drawn straight towards them now. But we got to do the best we can with what we're given. And then, is it me, or is the badge a bit high? I feel like that should be down a millimetre. We can pop that off, stick some new adhesive on it and re-center that perhaps. Beautiful paint. Looking forward to seeing this all covered and polished and coated, corrected and coated. A nice bit of dressing to go on here to get that all sharp and nice. There's a bit of a crack slash scratch here. It was weird. There was existing PPF on that side, but not this side. Still have the existing PPF on the mirrors to strip, actually, thinking about it. That side, I'm guessing this has been on since the car was new. You can just see there, it's lifted ever so slightly. And then tomorrow, I'm joined by young Robert, so we can start to tackle the front end. You're probably wondering why I've done two of these bits. 3 weeks from now, I think, funnily enough, there is another 720S booked in the diary. It also has the carbon front wings, but not the bonnet. So this will actually be good practice for that one. Beautiful colour as well. So let's throw this on, see how we go. And then we've got the part of the tub there. Ooh, that still needs to be removed. It's a bit of PPF. Very good. I would say that's a great success. Pretty tricky with the additional side skirts down below, but it's a very good job that the side fin's disconnected easily anyway. The lower portions, they're bonded, they're stuck down with Mansouri glue. Bit of an undertaking to remove them, but got that down, tucked and drying overnight so I can make a trim. The rest of the edges will be drying overnight, and then tomorrow we meet Rob. Here we go again.
I reckon if we put a hole in it,
Just a, yeah, small
then it's going to give
letterbox.
us a bit more freedom then, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Was that your shin? I told you.
Matt, I don't appreciate the side skirts and the front splitter because both me and Rob were getting bruises on the shins. It's lethal.
I used to like that.
Yeah. Sorry. Great success on the bonnet so far. It's still a little bit work in progress. We'll come back to that. Just looking at the rest of the areas now. The plotter is busy. Because I wasn't able to take off these side fins because of the side mounting in there and this whole clip situation, we're just going to leave them in situ and work with what we've got. But that means amending and editing the template for this lower portion. We're going to do this bit, the lower door section. We're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. But it means editing that, which using core, you can see that is this piece. So we've added a bit of an arch, a bit of a back leg at the back with a wrapped part to go into the wheel arch, but that's going to get rid of all the baggy material so we can actually do a nice little bridge around the back and over the top. And then at the same time using the original template for the spoiler, but adding a perimeter 2 or 3 inches so we can manipulate that as required. And then Rob's just prepping the wings now, just getting these sharpened up, prepped, alcohol, neat, wiped down, in readiness. Call yourself a detailer. Badge removed from the front, needs a trim, lay the badge down. That was actually installed with a bit of non-genuine double-sided anyway, so we'll do the same And then we can think about some lunch, because it's getting on already. 12:30.
So how about the stance you got going, man?
Look out. Morning. Beautiful day.
It's lovely, mate, out there.
Day 2 of PPF. Rob's back. We've got most of the front end down. I stayed late last night and got the gloss black lower splitter sections, 4 pieces down there onto that. Got this near side headlight to do, got these carbon fibre sections to do. Wing mirror to sort, the wing mirror stalks. The carbon has had now pretty much 24 hours thereabouts to dry, and it's added a serious amount of gloss and depth to what otherwise was, let's say, somewhat of a lacking finish. There are areas, sadly, if you look close, this is one of the original burn throughs. There's a bit of the blister in here, which actually looks like a PPF defect, but it's below. Same as here, blistering on the wing. It's not. And then we've got burn through there, burn through there, burn through there, blemish here, burn through on the edge. Basically, I know the car's going to be thrown around track quite aggressively.
Hold on!
So the protection is there to preserve it moving forward. But actually, if it was going to be a show queen, a garage queen, a show car, it would have been advised that actually maybe the carbon was stripped, taken to the spray shop, to the body shop, and re-lacquered and refinished and retreated. But there we go. We can only work with what we've been given. Yesterday, a bit of a mock template was created for the 2 lower outer splitter sections. Got the 3rd central piece to do as well as the blades. 2, 3. There's going to be the fins that stick here, which I've dismantled and taken off. The rear one's going to be done as well. I've got the near side fin section on that side down. Well, there we go. Kettle's on. We're going to get back to saltwater chicane. And get busy. That's it. Piece of contamination. Constant waffle then. You hit it first. Final push now for the PPF. Everything's coming together nicely. I am looking forward to actually getting back on the paint in terms of the polishing side of things. There's more pieces on what we've done here on the Mclaren than there is a full car on a Carrera, let's say the GTS next door. Did a quick count yesterday with Rob, it was like 67, 68 pieces. And that's only a track pack installation as well, that's not a full body install. However, that said, between us, I'm a bit delayed now because between us, there should be on this table some mirror stalks for the PPF templates still there, but they've ended up in the bin somehow. So the final pieces are 1, 2, 3, maybe a 3-piece kit. Get that all wrapped up, the mirrors covered now. They were removed and replaced, looking smart. Happy with the front splitter, a new template created for that to complete the front end. And then I had a boo-boo yesterday. It happens. Because of the adjustments required because of the side skirt blocking the original pattern, you get a bunch of material bunching up in here. I've edited it to accommodate the fin, which was a nice job. It has a wrapped edge there which covers this back leading edge. However, I'm about to take it off. As I was making a trim at the bottom here, it ripped. And it's a heart-wrenching, heart-stopping moment. And then you try and make a trim to adjust and account for it. But all of a sudden you're left with this monstrosity and it's not acceptable. But the rip happened around here and it's just now too high. It looks awful. It's not as though it's the door which comes up and is sort of visible at eye height, but still. So what we have on the plotter now are new mirror stems and the new lower quarter section. Portion's still not been picked up, and that will complete the PPF then for the Mclaren. Very happy with this spoiler. I've also sourced a paddock stand for the Ducati, so it's going to enable the bike to be upright, which will enable me to finally work on it, polish it, detail it, paint correct it, and possibly PPF it. There's some good marks up here, look. I've been itching to do this for some time. Anyway, plotter's finished, back to it. Oh, yes.
just 2 more electrical connectors and then the steering column is removed.
It's proven to be a real challenge to photograph the glitter and the pearlescent aspect to this Tiffany blue. It is stunning. To the eye, this looks completely different to what I think you can see on the camera, but we're getting there, final stages now. As I say, really there's not a great deal of defects there to shift. It's more restoring clarity and removing surface haze from holograms, like so. So if you look at the light there, you can see the streak to the left, the streak to the right, the trails. That's from machine polishing, from rotary polishing, versus the pin sharp clarity back here. And that is only going to improve with refining as well. This is the coarse correction stage, the mechanical digging, the abrasive stage to lift surface defects, haze, restore the clarity. Hey look, doesn't that look cool? Looks like a race bike now. Paddocks down for the rear, the swing arm and the front. And that's going to allow me to clean the bike easier, access the wheels, but also, as per the Honda, the CB650R, which I did an episode of, the Honda was like a satin matte grey-ish finish with very little paintwork to polish. But there's a lot of paintwork to polish, lots of fairings, lots of gloss, lots of scratches and defects, lots of improvements to be made. And there is PPF available for it as well, so. The Ducati Supersport 950S coming to the channel very soon. That is the heavy lifting complete now with the polishing stages for the Mclaren. The cutting complete, we're on to refining. We've switched to a lighter foam polishing slash finishing pad. We're in Morocco now, by the way. This is the Ranger of SVR episode, which is auctioned off and took it to the Sahara Desert. Imagine paint correction is like landscape gardening. You're digging out roots, you've got tree stumps, you've got roots and roughness in the ground, which you're using a spade to do the heavy lifting. You're chomping away, you're removing, you're happy, everything's great, you finish, but the surface, it's a bit heavy, it's a bit chopped up, it's a bit rough, because you've been using big tools, a spade, there's no finesse. Stay with me. Once the roots or the damage has been removed, you then want to switch to a rake. You want to use a hoe or a rake or something to fine out the surface, because otherwise it's just a bit chopped up and rough. So the refining is the raking of the paint just to smooth things off and make it level and make it nice and make it... I think you get the idea. But it's at this point it really has opportunity to pop.
I mean, it's starting to look fantastic already, so that is not yet refined. It's a quality paint, it's not been too chopped up with the spade process, which makes the refining process simple, or the raking. Oh, I wish I could pick that up on camera. That's stunning to the eye. Looks completely different. Carbon fiber's not bad now either.
It was a bit more serious than I thought. It took me a long time to realise this after as well. He'll work for Renault at Tom Lowry. He's a regularised one. We're going to do
Well, it's the final push now. This does seem to have gone on a little bit, but I've enjoyed it, and it leaves tomorrow morning 8 AM. Final thing to do is to throw some Modesta ceramic coatings over the top to make Jimmy B, Matt's maintenance guys, life easy when it comes to washing the vehicle. It's going to really enhance the hydrophobics and allow any sort of like track strikes, rubber strikes from down the sides to wipe away and to be removed easily. So it's getting the coating down, and then glass, finishing touches, tyres, what else? That's about it. The infrared curing process too.
looking forward to this. I'm in. Sorry, Matt. It's gotta be done. Oh, buffer trails on the back of the seat. Where's me cloth? Blimey, well, the plan now is the vehicle's being picked up at 8 AM tomorrow morning, transported. Matt's not coming here, sadly, I'm going there. Very happy with the final outcome, and let's hope, I'm sure Matt will be also. I'm going to save the final outro until that end. We're going to get there, get the car there safely, get it all illuminated and prepped and presented. It's kind of almost too nice to throw around a racetrack now, but
yeah, it looks sick. I like it. Thanks, Jim. It literally, I don't want to take it on track now, and I'm upset.
They were the key words I was hoping for.
The work is done, the foundation is in place, the protection is present, and obviously maintenance is key, which is a conversation I will be having with Matt, just to make sure that the work and the investment is prolonged for as best possible, for as long as possible, to get the most out of the PPF and the coatings too. Oh look, Matt Armstrong. That message was Matt saying about the fuel level. The car is showing that it's pretty much empty. The last thing I want to do now is move the car outside for the after footage, whilst I'm desperate to, because it's beautiful out there. I don't want to risk running out of fuel in the car park. Then what do I do? Problem. That's a shame, is what it is, unless I dash out and go and get a jerry can filled up myself. But by the time I do that, the sun's going to have set. So I'll save the outside after footage until the car is back at the Armstrong headquarters tomorrow morning. But for now, we'll get some indoor shots. How exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you, mate.
I appreciate it. The McLaren is now back from PPF and Jim is now going to walk us through it. It looks very shiny. Very shiny.
Looks brand new.
Now I don't want to take it on the track.
Apologies it's taken as long as it has. It's been a complicated job. Obviously the body kit, the additional bits that need a bit of custom work with the PPF.
Yeah.
On top of the PPF, it's had a good two-stage polish and coatings in the form of Modesta. So maintenance-wise, it really looks after itself. The protection's there with the PPF, the impact and the road rash. And the polishing, it just gives the paint, it just unlocks the clarity. You can see a real pin-sharp clarity now.
Yeah.
It
looks well nice.
It wasn't bad, obviously. It's only just been painted, but the paint correction just levels it off.
Yeah.
And it really does come to town, comes to life.
Yeah, it looks well nice. Proper shiny. Yeah, the gloss black's like come alive now, isn't it?
So PPF wise, you've got an extended front end track pack install. Basically, it's all the high impact areas.
Yeah.
Spoiler is fully wrapped. So
Yeah, that looks like well shot. It looks like you've got sprayed it with WD-40.
I'm more.
I think you've upset him.
No, it looks just really shiny.
It does look
More
good.
and more liking the finish of film than paint, actually. And Suntek Reaction, it has to be the glossiest finish on the market. Don't know if you remember on this panel, there's some
there were scratches on there. Yeah.
So I did what I could with the polishing side of things, but actually they were quite bad and they were improved. But that's black PPF.
Black PPF, I like it.
So yeah, very happy. And then it's a bit tight in here, but all this is pretty pure, pretty perfect.
Oh my
the
God,
carbon.
I would have lost my mind.
I've got about 600 gigabytes of footage to work through, so there'll be
Loads of swearing.
a lot of
Yeah, it looks sick. Yeah, it looks sick. I like it. Thanks, Jim. It literally, I don't want to take it on track now. Now I'm upset.
They were the key words I was hoping for.
Looks sick.
Any questions regards maintenance and stuff, give us a shout. But Jimmy B knows his stuff, doesn't he? I think.
Yeah. Hopefully you'll look after it.
Any contacts on the paint, just trying to. I know that's hard, easier said than done, but try and avoid rubbing and scrubbing on the paintwork. PPF looks after itself, but
You can't even tell, can you? That's mad. How long did that take? Like, do you know how many hours?
I didn't clock it fully. Rob from Suntek joined because the complications or the complexity of the bonnet and the wings is quite technical, advanced stuff, really. So I was grateful for Rob and Suntek to get involved. But it's been over a week, really. So the prep initially, the polishing, ahead of the PPF, rinsing it down, the PPF, coatings.
Do you do like meditation or something?
I need to.
That is insane. Yeah, it looks really good. I'm buzzing with that. More mods now though. More mods. Then we can go on track. And we actually need to book a track day on it. But thanks, Jim. Everyone go follow him. If you want some PPF, and don't get him too busy because we've still got a few more cars to get to him. So don't give him too much and don't stress him out. But go follow Jim in the link in the description. And go watch his video on it as well, because that's probably going to be a lot more in depth than this if you want to find out how he's actually done this. A few more mods now to do on the Mclaren, and then let's take it on track.
Well, as you can see, a few weeks have passed. Here is the purple McLaren we spoke about. Just to quickly sign out and to recap, once again, thanks to Matt for the opportunity to work alongside his channel on his beloved McLaren.
It was a fine job, I'm sure you'll agree. If you've liked this video, be sure to hit subscribe and like button down below. There's a link to Matt's channel in the video description here down below. Head over to that and see his content. And then for more information on this one, for example, and future projects as they happen, find White Details over on Instagram for behind the scenes and updates. Another beautifully spec'd model with the additional carbon kit as well. However, this one doesn't have the bonnet, as you can see. What we do have though, deja vu, heavy sander marks once again on the front splitter in this example. As per Matt's car, the side fins have been removed to allow this, but that's drying overnight before a trim is made. She's a looker. Thanks again for watching. See you next time.